Previously on Sayu Rinpoche's Adventures.
Wait, what is that? Let's see. Oh my god. Yep, suspicion confirmed that this little mountain here, or this little hill, whatever you call that, it is one of the Mayan temples, and this one is known as Temple VI.
Temple VI, although being a bit off the path, is an important structure that has a 12 meters tall roof comb. Originally rediscovered in 1951, the inscriptions found on the stone slabs and stele around Temple VI included some of Tikal's history that could be traced back as early as the 12th century BC, more than 3,000 years ago. Archaeologists were able to decipher an event from the stela in the front of Temple VI, the succession of a king in the 8th century, as well as an exact date, which is equivalent to year 766. Therefore, Temple VI is also known as the Temple of the Inscriptions. Now, the question is, we know this temple is important, but is it worth walking all the way from the main complex just to see it? I would say, maybe not. If you have lots of time and want to enjoy a long walk in the park, sure, that's a good idea. But if you're only visiting for a day, I say skip it. For your info, my guided tour next day completely skipped this part of the park. My advice is just focusing on the main complex, which I found to be far more impressive than Temple VI. Okay, Sayu, why did you take us to Temple VI then? I made a mistake, alright? I blame it on the park map close to the huge saber tree being completely inaccurate. Still, Temple VI was the first Mayan temple I had ever seen in my life, and I was still in a total shock when I first saw it. Now, let's do the right thing and go to the more impressive parts of Tikal National Park.
Yeah, I can tell you that there are definitely mosquitoes. So if you don't have your bug spray, they're gonna come and get you, and I have a feeling that something else is gonna get me too. Who knows what that is? Because I've been hearing weird sounds that... Wait, is it following me or something? I don't know. I don't care. We're on our way to the temples, so what else could happen? But I tell you that this jungle is well alive, despite that you cannot see anything. Now I'm very curious, what is this for?
Alright folks, I want to talk about something very serious. Be very careful when you approach these little pools. The next morning, I learned from my guided tour that poisonous snakes enjoy hanging out by these pools. They can also be found in thick bushes and sometimes even on trails around the park. So again, be very careful even if you're staying on designated trails. Pay close attention when you're walking and definitely do not venture off the trails. Trust me, this is not the place where you want to be bitten by a poisonous snake.
Okay, so we're once again at an intersection, but this intersection looks way more interesting because I already can see a temple this way.
Actually, it wasn't a temple, but rather an impressive complex that today is referred to as a palace-type structure. Palacio de Las Acanaladuras, or Palace of the Grooves, is believed to be a residential complex where 29 rooms are still intact today. It is the largest complex of its kind inside the Tikal National Park. Because this complex is still considered not in the core area of the Tikal site, there wasn't a lot of people around. So it became a nice, quiet place where you can appreciate this lost city from at least over 1,000 years ago, mostly by yourself and a few others. I didn't get much more information from the signs installed inside the complex, nor was I able to find more information online afterwards. I assume that we still probably don't know much about this complex. Maybe we will learn more one day from some breakthrough archaeological discovery, or when another similar structure is unearthed. Yep, what we see in Tikal today is only a very small part of this once prosperous Mayan metropolis that had as many as over 400,000 residents at one point. Only about 15% to 20% of the Tikal site had been excavated, which means that the vast majority of the city is still currently unknown to us, and is still buried deep in the surrounding jungles.
I have to say, this is pretty impressive. Okay, now I'm being tricked by another visitor to go for another long walk here instead of Tikal National Park. And he says despite the long route, the view is fantastic and you get to see all the temples from this trail. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, what the f is going on, guys? Holy sh! What the hell? Hopefully I'm not into some sort of a trouble. Am I gonna get attacked? That doesn't look very promising to me. Guys, I think I'll probably take the other way. It looks like there's a fight between who knows what. Yeah, folks, I do not know what those things are. Maybe the howler monkeys, I don't know, but it just sounds like pure violence to me. So yeah, I better leave them alone. Oh my gosh. And I'm just gonna go on the main path, and because I do not want to get into trouble. Yeah, just imagine, like, you know, two people are fighting and then you just pass by. Like, that makes me an eyewitness. Yeah, like a murder's going on, I'm an eyewitness. What do you think is gonna happen to me? If humans can kill humans, howler monkeys can probably kill howler monkeys too. And maybe a human right here. Alright, another moment of truth. Yeah, I think we're closer to the who knows what fight again. So I better turn this way, I guess. Huh. Is this what I think it is? feather of a gazelle.
Quetzal is the national bird of Guatemala and is regarded very highly in Mayan culture. The feathers of quetzals were once used as a medium for exchanging goods, kind of like the currency of the past. Sounds familiar? Because today, the national currency of Guatemala is called quetzales, which pays direct tribute to Quetzal the bird, and you can even find one on the banknotes. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a live quetzal during my trip, but that's okay. Maybe one day I can have billions of quetzales in the bank instead.
And I think I'm probably heading to the Grand Plaza, which is the main part of this national park. I think I see something. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll show you what it is. Yeah, this is impressive, but the one I want to show you is this one right here. This is why I came all the way to Tikal National Park for.
Here we are, La Gran Plaza, the Great Plaza, where many believe to be the city core of Tikal. The tall structure we see right here is one of the most famous Mayan temples in the world, Temple of the Great Jaguar, also known as Temple I of Tikal. Obviously, this is the back of the structure. To have a better look at Temple I and the Great Plaza, why don't we head to the temple's front, where the center of the Great Plaza is.
This is insane.
The plaza is surrounded by 4 structures on its 4 sides. Temple I to the east, Temple II, also known as the Temple of Masks, to the west, the North Acropolis to the north, and the Central Acropolis to the south. Before we get into the details of Tikal's most famous structure, let's first go to the best place to see it, Temple II. You're allowed to climb up this temple, and from there, you will get to see Temple I and La Gran Plaza from the same angle where that classic postcard image of Tikal was taken.
Okay, let's climb Temple II now. I have to say, it does not seem to be very stable at all. Yeah, the wooden stairs, a bit sketchy, I have to be honest. Wow.
Both Temple I and Temple II were constructed back in the early 8th century. Temple I was believed to be the burial place for King Hasao-chan Kauai. Sorry, this King Kauai, or maybe shall we call him King Hasao, who was also known as King A Cacao. The reason why this temple is often referred to as the Temple of the Great Jaguar is because when Temple I was rediscovered hundreds of years later in the 19th century, one of the lintel carvings displayed a figure, likely King Hasao, sitting upon an impressive jaguar throne, which was a symbol of courage and power in the Mayan culture. I would love to see the carving myself, but I couldn't find much information on where it is now, other than an illustration done by an archaeologist who specializes in redrawing pre-Columbian lintels. If you have any additional information regarding the whereabouts of this lintel carving, please leave a comment below and let me know. Temple 2 is believed to be built to honor King Hasal's wife. The way how this temple got its name, the Temple of the Masks, is rather more straightforward. You can still see some badly deteriorated carvings that resemble masks on the roof comb. While the adjacent northern Acropolis and the central Acropolis will be the natural choice for where we explore next, I decided not to, but instead followed a group of Guatemalan visitors towards the direction where I saw another tall temple that had its roof comb towering the surrounding jungle. I'll have to pass by the Great Plaza again anyways, as it is on the way into the park and on the way out as well. So that leaves me ample opportunities to explore the area again, either later that day or the next day.
I knew I spotted a huge temple from the top of Temple 2, and here it is.
This is Temple 5, which is currently the second tallest temple in Tikal. We know very little about this temple. Some believe that it's dedicated to either King Hasal's son or the rain god. Again, we still don't know, but this structure is absolutely impressive. Right behind Temple 5, there is a path heading to a section called Plaza of the Seven Temples. Like the Great Plaza, this is an open area that is surrounded by Mayan architectures, or like its name suggests, 7 temples. Although I do not believe 7 was the correct number, nor was every single building a temple. The buildings around Plaza of the Seven Temples are more like a combination of palace-style structures we saw earlier at Palacio de Las Acanaladuras and temple-style architectures. Again, we still don't know much about what this open space was for, or why was it there. Some say the buildings around it were like administrative offices. My guess was maybe it was an entertainment district. Okay, don't count on me. I hope one day we'll be able to find out the answers to these questions as more archaeological findings are discovered.
Yeah, this park is absolutely huge. And one thing I have to tell you is the jungle walk that I took in the beginning, it was absolutely kind of like a mistake. Unless you have a full day to spend here at the Tikal National Park. And yeah, it was just a nice walk. And then of course I got to see my first Mayan temple there as well. It was very awe-inspiring. But then later when I visited the Grand Plaza and also even the Plaza of Seven Temples over there, those are way more interesting than the first one I saw. So folks, yeah, don't repeat the same mistake. Once you get into the park, if you don't have a full day, you just want to see the highlights, go straight towards the Grand Plaza. Yeah, this park is absolutely huge. So I think I'm gonna be selective now, and I realized that there is a temple and that also appears very tall on the map, so I'm gonna go check that one out. Yeah, because if I'm gonna check out every single place that's marked on the map, chances are I probably won't be able to make it back before sunset, and that's gonna be a problem.
The temple I was referring to would be Temple 4, the tallest temple in Tikal and the second tallest of all known Mayan temples in the world. Like Temple 2, you can reach the roof comb of the temple from the wooden stairs in the back. So, what is it like up there? Well, let's find out together. Believe it or not, some people say what you see will remind you of a galaxy that's far, far away. This is where the scene of the Millennium Falcon entering the Rebel base in Star Wars A New Hope was shot. The location of the scene is on a fictional planet called Yavin 4, whereas in reality, that scene was shot from Temple 4. The buildings we're looking at are actually Temple 1, Temple 2, and Temple 3. We just visited Temple 1 and Temple 2. As for Temple 3, it is only partially restored and remains closed for public visits until the restoration work is complete. Now let's talk about Temple 4, the very place where we're seeing everything from. Its construction was related to the successor of King Hassal, King Iken, either as a dedication to his reign as king or as a resting place. It appears that much of Tikal is still a mystery, and only as the archaeological work continues will we begin to learn more about this impressive pre-Columbian city. It was getting late. I made my way back to the Great Plaza, hoping to check out the North Acropolis and the Central Acropolis before I make my way back to the hotel. Upon arriving, I was told by the park staff that I had to leave the park in 40 minutes, as only visitors who booked a special sunset tour are allowed to stay and watch the sunset from the top of one of the temples. Okay, so walking back in the dark was never an option in the first place. That means I will probably have to check out the Central Acropolis the next day. But for now, why don't we check out the North Acropolis? The North Acropolis is more like the North Necropolis, as the entire compound is believed to be the tombs of past Tikal rulers. Okay, so you're telling me that the city core of Tikal is a huge cemetery? Just imagine the city core of whichever city you're in is a cemetery, rather than malls, historic churches, business buildings, government buildings, or whatever you think you're gonna see in downtowns. Nonetheless, what remains of Tikal's city core today is still quite impressive, especially after over 1,000 years of abandonment. Another testimony to the fact that shopping malls don't last, material things become unimportant over time, and only life and death are enshrined for eternity.
Can you see it? Oh wow!
Okay, philosophy class over. Despite being a large complex, the access to the North Acropolis is quite limited. Many sections are marked as do not climb. Nonetheless, the upper section of the North Acropolis has amazing views of Temple 1, Temple 2, and the Great Plaza. It was there that I took some extra time looking at my surroundings. Then, I realized that the trees around the North Acropolis are the perfect spots for bird watching. How amazing is that? During our time at the Iguazu Falls, I saw some toucans, but never ended up successfully capturing any footages or photos of them. This time in Tikal, I was able to see a lot of them, sometimes just from the tree right next to me. Need I to say more? Gotta catch them all. With a camera, of course. As I was appreciating all the birds, the Great Plaza gradually became empty. I figured it was probably time to go. I couldn't wait to come back to Tikal the next day and see what else is waiting for me to discover. Whether mystery, some forgotten history, or simply birds and other animals.
Yeah, it's kind of close to sunset time now, and I bet the park will probably start kicking out day tourists already because there is a sunset tour here inside the Tikal National Park, but you'll have to buy a separate ticket and be accompanied by a guide, which for today I do not have. But for tomorrow morning, I will be having that opportunity to see sunrise here in Tikal. I really enjoy this park, not just the ruins, but also the great nature, like the birds. Oh my gosh, such a pleasant sight to see. I can tell you that I could definitely spend a whole day just watching birds here. And of course, for those bloody murderous monkeys, not my interest really. So I guess for the things that we didn't see today, luckily there is a second chance for me to come back tomorrow morning. But for now, let me first find a way to the exit, and finally you can check into my hotel. Yeah, the funny thing is I realized that the way to the exit is also a very nice jungle walk. So folks, if you just want to enjoy a jungle walk, you don't even have to go through the way that I first did. You can just pretty much walk straight to the Grand Plaza and save some precious time here in this gigantic national park.
Our Tikal adventure continues as I return to the park the next morning before the sun rises over the horizon. What else will we see and learn? Follow me to the next episode.